I am so pleased to talk about New York BizLab because there are so many businesses that want to get started, but they just don't have the wherewithal. Can I use that word?
Absolutely.
I guess, to get started. And you're over at the TransFinder building. Is that
Actually,
right?
TransFinder, so Tony Civitella is the owner of both TransFinder.
Amazing man.
And he is amazing. He's my boss, so I have to make sure I definitely say a plug there. No, he is. Hey, Tony. So TransFinder's on one side in the 400 block, and then he was actually one of the first investors in the 200 block.
Okay.
So on the other side of Erie Boulevard is the First Niagara Bank building. We don't have signage up yet, but it's that Art Deco with the big glass in front, and so that's where the BizLab is.
It's wonderful. And what would we find at the BizLab if we walked in?
Well, you know, it has a beautiful interior, number one. I mean, it goes back to 1959, so you have marble floors, high ceilings, and it's beautiful, beautiful conference room. And then you're going to start finding more and more of these startup companies that are just buzzing. So there's just a lot of activity in there. We have so far 3 companies that are, I call it, in the house. We have a 4th that's moving up on the 3rd floor by May, and a 5th actually that's also going to be moving in the next month or so. And it's all high-tech companies working in software, e-commerce, app development, and it's exciting. It's a lot of excitement.
Yeah, and we talked about manufacturing just earlier, but you know, there's a lot that goes behind the manufacturing.
Absolutely.
And this is what you're doing. So if someone's watching and they have an idea, say to either manufacture or to software development, but they really need a little support, would they come to you?
Absolutely. Tony, you know, is an entrepreneur, and I as
International
well.
entrepreneur.
International, that's right. We have a Shanghai office now, and so you know, one of the things that is, it's more than just about a building. It's really about great minds. And so what we put together is over 35 advisors that have been CEOs. Some of them are currently CEOs as well. They've had successes and they've had failures.
And you learn from those failures.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have one of my favorite stories is these 2 brothers. They started Vicarious Visions, which is a video game company.
Yeah. They're pretty big, actually.
Very big. They with Activision
in
now.
Schenectady, yeah.
Well,
area.
In the area, yep.
Yeah.
And so they wound up, you know, they won an Entrepreneur of the Year award, and they were asked one time, which failures, which mistakes would you avoid? And one of the brothers said, I'd avoid all of them. And the other one said, I would avoid none of them, because the mistakes that we made helped us in those next products. So these CEOs that we put together, these advisors, are very open about both their successes and their failures, and they can help. One of the goals is, you know, life is too short, and entering into a marketplace, you know, it's that first to entry kind of situation that if they can learn from somebody else's mistakes, and you know, they're going to make their own.
The worst thing I want to hear from anybody is, I want to make my own mistakes. It's like, no, there are mistakes that have been made that you can learn from.
Right, exactly.
And try and incorporate. Now, granted, you're going to make your own,
of course.
and that's fine.
That's right, absolutely.
Because you're looking outside the envelope. Maybe you want to try this,
that's right.
And somebody will say, you know, I don't think that's going to work. You go, well, let me try it and see if
that's
it works.
right.
And it doesn't work.
That's
so
right.
now you know, you put
that's
that
okay.
in your arsenal, right?
And there are so many companies that are not what they started out as.
I know.
Okay, MapInfo, great example. One of our successes in the region. They got acquired by Pitney Bowes. They started out as in-car navigation. Not a novel idea,
GPS.
right? In 1986, it was a novel idea, and it was too early. So they wound up moving into desktop and using it for location services on where to locate a store, where to.
I use that all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you know, they pivoted, and that's the thing too, is learning how to say, okay, maybe the market's not quite ready for us. We're a little early. We got to make a pivot. We can use this technology, but we have to repackage it in a different way.
Well, and it's because our world is changing so rapidly.
Very.
We were talking about that just this morning, how change is developing. What was really hot 2 years ago is no longer hot, but you may have used that as a launching pad to go into something else.
Absolutely. PayPal is a good example of that. Many companies have just, you know, they're not what they were when they started.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yo, photos. Let's look at photos.
Oh,
right there.
Yeah, okay. So that was actually our open house. So we had our open house in April of last year. It was April 24th.
I know, and I couldn't make it.
Well, you know, we thought that we had to worry about rain. We had to worry about snow. It was 34 degrees out, But it actually helped make the some of the speeches a little shorter because we did it outside on the street, so that was fun.
So that's your building.
That's the building. Has a completely new facade. It used to have.
Is that now that is
right next to the DMV?
Yeah.
So there's Tony speaking at the podium at our open house. We've had multiple events there, and that's that was Villa Italia. They donated the cake.
They're amazing.
Wonderful local
amazing
business.
people. We've got some great people in this area.
We have a lot of great people in this area. And one of the things I've found, Ann, is that people are very generous with their time. If they feel like it's purposeful,
they'll do it.
They will. So people are very open to donate their time, to give guidance. If they want to, you hear a lot about mentorship, right? There's a lot of mentors out there that are willing to help come alongside a startup. They just don't want to feel like it's, their advice is going on deaf ears. They don't want to feel like, okay, they're listening.
And I'm not the
they don't want to go through the motions.
Yeah.
But so we had a press conference for Assemblyman Santa Barbara because he wanted to introduce
Angelo's everywhere.
All over the place. If you follow his Twitter feed, but he was introducing a cybersecurity measure, and one of our tech companies deals with e-commerce, and so they supported this measure. So he had a great press conference in our atrium, and then this company's CEO spoke about why this measure was necessary. So it's all partnership.
Yeah, and so much is happening in Schenectady. We heard about Hudson Valley creating, some energy behind manufacturing jobs, and now you're helping businesses get started. Right. How would they contact you?
They can contact me by emailing rdorico@transfinder.com is probably the best way to go. And they can always call me. I'll give you my cell phone number. I don't mind. 518-857-3053.
Okay.
So.
And you
can text me as well there.
You'll text. He's willing. He is out there willing to help you.
I love it. I love it. It's fun stuff.
Good. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you so much. Say hi to Tony.
I will definitely do that.
He's amazing.
Have I mentioned that he's a great boss?
Did I
mention that? I want to make sure I mentioned that.
No, I didn't. Is he a good boss?
He's an excellent boss.
Okay. We just want to make sure we get that in, Tony. Thanks so much,
Thank you
Rick.
so
Please
much.
come again and talk about some of the other
I'd love to give you updates.
Yeah,
that would be great.
absolutely. We'll do
Super.
that. We'll keep in touch.
All right. Take care.